How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. We got ourselves some Pokemon rumors, leaks, etc., whatever you want to call it, news, as well as stuff about Pokemon actually coming out having opinions on Palworld. So we're going to talk about that at the end of the video. First, we're going to go into all the Pokemon things that I want to discuss today. Starting things off with, of course, this post right here on Forchan. So a big heads up, though, this is Forchan at the end of the day, so whatever is posted on here, take it with not a pinch of salt, but rather a literal mountain's worth of salt. Like the Mount Everest of salt is what's needed when you're looking at this, because this can be like either a 50-50 gamble or a 1 in 1 million chance of being real. So again, just keep that in mind. Now, the first thing they post here is some sort of language select for different languages with English, Spanish, French, Italian, German, sorry, not Dutch, Portuguese, and yeah, I guess Latin America. Again, Spanish again here. But specifically for Latin America. So it's just an image of different language choices. I don't know if this was an actual game or where this is exactly from. I don't know. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm not totally certain, but I don't think it really matters that much. Rather, here is what the post says about the next Pokemon Presents on February 27th from Anonymous. This was posted today, about 10 hours ago, in 23 minutes. And it says, 2 new video games from the main series will be announced. One of them is developed by Game Freak, and the other one by ILCA. So yeah, this this would be the nightmare scenario for a lot of people. Personally, I'll be fine with it, but I know a lot of people would hate it if this was true, because a lot of people just hate BDSP, think it's an awful game, and don't want ILCA to work on another one. So I don't know what to say, Chief, but moving on. The first one will take place in UNOVA. So apparently the first game will be taking place in UNOVA, so that would maybe be the game that we, I guess this person, whoever wrote this, if it's legit, interesting. If it's fake, he probably took it from a lot of the theories that exist within the community right now as to what the next game is, just based off of stuff we've seen in the DLC and stuff. But he says here, the first one will take place in UNOVA. We'll return to the Blueberry Academy as a new character. Huh? Okay, we'll return to the Blueberry Academy as a new character? Why would we return to the Blueberry Academy in a new game? Pecharunt will play a significant role in the plot, along with some characters from Scarlet and Violet, and the theme of the multiverses will be explored, opening new possibilities never seen before in Pokemon. See, this is one of those things where, like, it sounds so stupid and unrealistic that it could be real. I'll be real. I know what I'm saying might make no sense, but this is one of those situations where it seems so dumb that it could actually be real. Mostly because of, like, I mean, it sounds pretty wacky. It sounds like something stupid they would do, but I don't know. But that's at least what it says here. Apparently, multiverse is being explored. I seriously want to stay away from multiverses. I'm tired of them. We've done them too much. They're overdone. We need to move away to more interesting things within storytelling. Moving on, though. They say the Scarlet and Violet protagonist will also return. You'll have to face him/her at the end of your adventure. If you have saved game on your console with DLC 2 completed, the game will import your data. So the character will have the same Pokemon as yours. It'll be something similar to encounter with your past self, Red in Johto's Silver Cave. I'm gonna be real, that sounds so cool. Like, that actually sounds really sick, but I highly doubt that would be real. Like, it sounds epic. It actually sounds really freaking cool, but I highly doubt it being real. Like, I really doubt it being actually real, though. It sounds, like I said, it sounds so cool, but so unrealistic. Now, continuing though, it says, Game Freak left several clues about these games in Scarlet and Violet's DLC, and Detective Pikachu returns, and some fan theories are correct. He says, a new language will be added to the Pokemon games. I guess that's why this image was included. A Latin American Spanish, which is very specific. Thanks to a campaign started by fans, the last language added was Chinese in 2016, also thanks to a fan campaign. The opening of Pokemon Center in Mexico will be announced as well, with plans to expand to other countries in South America. Alright, so far we talked about that, but what about next? Well, it says Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will have a re-release with improved graphics and performance for the Switch 2. That would be such a weird thing for them to do. That seems so unlikely for them to do, but hey, everything's possible. Apparently, also, it'll include both DLCs, announcement date to be confirmed. In these new games, the story of UNOVA and JOHTO will be connected to the future Generation 10, which will take place in Australia. I mean, I like me Aussies. I wouldn't mind going down to Australia, mate. Like, I'd fucking love that. And will be announced on February 27th, 2025 for the Switch 2. Okay, so first things first. Australian region, epic. I would love that. I love me Aussies. I want to see some grog, I want to see some kangaroos. I want to see, we don't want to see stingrays though. F those. We want to see Steve Irwin, you know what I mean? Like Australia, sick. It would be so cool to have a region based on it. But I don't know if that's going to be next, though. I'm going to be real. Moving on, though, they say there'll be more announcements for mobile games. They'll also ask about the release of Pokemon Horizons in the West, but this is most notable information. Now, I'm a bit confused. This person, oh no, I guess I skipped over it, which is right here. So they do mention the ILCA game, which apparently the second upcoming Pokemon game is a Gold-Silver remake that will feature crystal enhancements, plot changes, and the return of a real-time day and night cycle. The storyline will incorporate time travel, linking it to the Scarlet and Violet and UNOVA games, which makes sense. Like, if you think about it, if you really think about it, Johto and UNOVA have perfect connections to time travel. One of them has a literal Pokemon that time travels, and in Heart Gold Soul Silver, there's an event where you time travel with Celebi, and the other one, UNOVA, has this constant feature of or a concept of the future, right? Futuristic stuff, but also the past, right? Because we do see a lot of more traditional things there too. So both these places have a lot of time-related concepts and themes, which makes me wonder where this might be going, and if they truly are connected in a sense, which you already talked about a million videos. But again, I'm gonna put my rating on this rumor post, and hey leakers or fake leakers, keep them coming. Give me something to talk about, and also give me some ideas to of potential things or ideas of what they could do, because I wouldn't even have considered them doing any of this stuff here with returning back to Scarlet and Violet or anything like that. I wouldn't even have considered that as even a possibility. But it's cool to kind of speculate about, right? From a speculation point of view, fantastic. From a realism point of view, but I'm gonna give this a clear rating of I'm giving this a 4 out of 10, mostly because you know what, a 5 out of 10, okay? I want to be generous. A 5 out of 10, mostly because some of the stuff just seems a little far-fetched in terms of why would they do that? Why would they do a game that takes place in UNOVA, but then we return to the Blueberry Academy as a new character, and Pecharunt is there? What does Pecharunt have to do with anything? Pecharunt is totally disconnected from the Indigo Disc. It's a separate event that takes place in Kitakami, and you capture it, and that's it. That's just a mythical event and nothing more. So it doesn't make any sense to me. But that's pretty much where I'm going to leave this one at. I don't really know what else I can say about it, to be honest with you guys. That pretty much summarizes it. Moving on, though, we do have this post right here. So this is from Riddler Khu. You guys may know Riddler Khu. He, of course, is the man, the myth, the legend who posts all things to do with Pokemon, I guess, if you want to call it Pokemon leaks and stuff. And what he tweeted out said, recently, actually, yesterday, was the dust has finally settled, and there's still tons of unknowns or controversies left there peacefully. And this is specifically a picture from when you meet Turo or Sada at the end of the Indigo Disc. Would you consider trading me that book for my copy of the Violet book, is what he asks. He says, now we've finished breaking down all our riddles and hints for Sudachi. Of course, Sudachi was the code name for the DLC. He says, looking forward to the next. See ya. When shall we begin? Question mark. I actually replied saying, start already, because we only have a month left to Pokemon Day anyways. And I had a whole interaction where he said, you have Palworld now. And I just replied, I need the OG, boss. I need the OG. I don't want to shoot Pokemon. I want to catch them. And then, people just kind of goofing on it, asking him to start cooking. I asked him to start cooking as well. And guess what? He's going to start cooking. I think soon, within the next week, we should be expecting Riddler Khu to come out with new actual posts. And here's the thing. When he gives us a new post, I think that post is going to solidify what is going to be coming out next. Problem is, he hasn't said anything yet. And we are about T-minus 1 month. So we're about a month and 2 days before Pokemon Day takes place, because it's the 25th right now, and I don't know if it's no, actually it basically is it's a little bit more than a month. Okay, it's a month plus 4 or 5 days left until the actual Pokemon Day, so it's not really far away. But just keep track of Riddler Khu, okay? Just keep track of his Twitter account. If you haven't already followed him, definitely do. You can also follow my Twitter account, because I will always be replying and retweeting his stuff. That's what I just tend to do. So definitely keep track of that, because I will be sharing, my thoughts and opinions, and also what he does post. I will instantly cover it on this channel as well, so just keep that in mind. But basically, pay attention to what's happening, because he will be posting soon, okay? He's going to be posting real information. And for those guys who do not know him, he's a legitimate leaker. He's an actual legit leaker. So he's going to be posting something soon, so stay tuned for that. Next up is this one. Apparently, a date has now been set for the online communication in Nintendo 3DS to actually end. And the same thing goes for the Wii U software. Basically, their closure is going to be taking place on April 8th of 2024. And basically, what's going to be happening is that they're going to be closing down any and all internet usage or communication on the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS, which I think is so garbage, man. Like, I hate that this is happening. And currently, though, Pokemon Bank and Poke Transporter, which are important tools that you need if you want to transfer Pokemon from literally anywhere. Like, if you want to go back in time, if you want to go back all the way to, I guess, Gen 1, even, like, you know, all the way back to then, you would need to go through all the processes to get to Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Transporter, to then get all the way to the Switch games. It's a big process, but those tools are still needed. People still have a lot of their Pokemon in Pokemon Bank. Now, I don't. I never really used Bank because I just like keeping my Pokemon in the games I had them in. But I know a lot of people want to keep their Pokemon with them for the rest of their life, right? Into whatever the next game and journey is. They want to be able to do that. And if they actually close these two things down as well, that's going to be detrimental to a lot of people's collections. And it's another proof as to why I personally have a massive, like, hate boner for stuff like this, like for online only things and like online only games and games that are like, you know, that don't have any physical manifestation of sorts, right? Or don't exist in any physical form that you can always have on you or require online only. That's why I'm a big proponent for people like modifying and even pirating games, not for the sake of pirating for not paying for them, but rather pirating them in the sense where, like, keeping them for preservation and we can actually have them in the future. Because a lot of games over the next, like, 20 years will disappear. A lot of games will disappear permanently. There are games that I loved playing as a kid. For example, Battlefield Heroes, right? Battlefield Heroes is not accessible anymore. Fans try to recreate it and open up their own servers, but EA shut them down. That game, I loved it, but it is permanently gone now. And it's not the only one. There's tons of games just like that that are online only or were never available in physical form. And those games are gone now because there is no more money being pumped into it. And of course, if there's no money being pumped in and there's no money coming in, they're not going to be supporting it anymore. It's going to disappear. So I am all for, like, you know, preserving games so people can, like, re-experience it. And unfortunately, if these things also stop functioning down the line, like Pokemon Bank and also Poke Transporter, if those start, like, to not work anymore, that means a lot of people's old nostalgic, you know, journeys will be stuck in that past, which is not the end of the world, but it does also mean that you shouldn't really rely on these things to keep your memories intact. I'm just going to put it like that, okay? I'm just going to put it like that. So that summarizes that. Now, moving on, we have two little topics I'm going to talk about. The first one is just this random little thing that this person called Echo noticed, which is that you can actually see in the intro to the actual event of the Pecharunt event, you can actually see the shadow of Pecharunt here in the background, kind of just like flying by. It's like super random, but it's kind of like a funny that it's basically in the background, which is a nice little touch. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, and I don't know if that's like something we should praise them for, but it's a cool little detail. That I think is pretty interesting. So that's pretty much that. I wanted to share that real quick. Then there's also this post from Soul Silver. Soul Silver, of course, a leak analyst, as I like to call him. And basically what he said is it's been I know it's been mentioned before, but the only thing instantly that stood out to me in this first scene in our house from the epilogue, so that's, of course, the end event to get the Pecharunt, the black and the white throw rug. So right here, you guys see the zigzag, you know, like rag on the floor here is black and white. Interesting. Oh, jeez. I just choked. If I'm being totally honest, you can call me crazy, but this is a detail that actually 90%. Man, my throat, I just choked. God damn, dude. I got a sausage in my mouth. Convinces me that black and white is coming this year. So to him, apparently, this one carpet, which I know is going to sound stupid what he's saying, but hear the man out and hear me out too. So he says, the fact that this is convincing him 90% that black and white is coming this year. He continues on and says, I mess around a lot about JOHTO coming too, because I believe that that both regions will be revisited in the next 5 to 6 years. But the reason I think this is a black and white next hint is because of the Krogung statue in Scarlet and Violet's starting house, which was the same statue in Diamond and Pearl. And then we got 2 Sinnoh games next, which, yes, it's true. You guys remember the little statue in Sword and Shield? Same statue from, of course, Pokemon, Diamond and Pearl. Same statue. And that was a hint towards the next game. So what he's basically implying here is that would be a reasonable enough hint. Continuing saying, this on top of Khu's hints makes black and white a no-brainer in 2024 for me, but I'll still be teasing JOHTO because who knows. I think it's going to be both, but we're going to have to wait and see, right? We're going to have to just wait and see what happens. And G. Santos had actually an interesting point here, saying there's also this gray carpet with a pattern in the shape similar to Kyurem's crest. Are we getting Pokemon Gray down here? Which, it might be a bit more far-fetched. I'm going to be real boss, but hey, anything is possible, baby. Anything is possible. So that pretty much summarizes that. Moving on, though, we have another thing that I want to talk about, which is going to be this post that Centro shared, which is breaking. The Pokemon Company releases a statement on Palworld. Ooh. So basically, the Pokemon Company, because they've been spammed by people to infinity through their customer support and their, customer services and stuff like that, they've been spammed like crazy all about Palworld, right? And what they said here, and they made a post about it, you guys can actually read it right here yourself. You can just pause the video if you want to. I'm going to move my camera to the left. You guys can pause the video, but that basically, it's a bit of a interesting text. But here's what they said. So they have an English version and a Japanese version. So they made a version for both. They said, inquiries regarding other companies' games. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. So we all know what that is. Palworld, obviously. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world, and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. The Pokemon Company. So this is pretty much a nothing burger. I think the reason they put this statement out was probably because they were very much getting spammed about this. I mean, it's been a whole massive, giant, like, splurge of a shit show on Twitter, all about, like, people complaining about AI, people complaining about stolen assets. The only opinion I have in regards to any of this is the following one. As long as they did not directly take assets from Pokemon and rip them off that way, I don't really care. As long as they didn't directly rip it off. Because, like, here's the thing. A lot of the stuff in this game undeniably is based on Pokemon designs. Like, some of them are very, very on the nose. Some of them are one-to-one, okay? In terms of design concept behind it. Not all of them, though, but a lot of them. The thing that where I draw the line is if they actually stole assets that were made by Game Freak or Creatures Inc., which is the company that makes the 3D models of Pokemon. If they actually stole assets and then used that in their game and just changed it to look more like their own thing. That's where I draw the line. That's for me where I'm like, hey, yo, you can't just steal their actual property and then just mold it a little bit differently and be like, this is mine. As for the design concepts, though, some of them I feel like people are being way too, like far-fetched with it. Like, some of them are definitely on the nose. There are a lot of a lot of pals that genuinely just are one-to-one to, like, Pokemon. But some of them are, like, not even close. Like, I feel like the penguin one is a weird one to compare to Piplup, because Piplup is just a penguin, okay? It's just a blue penguin. And I feel like then you could just go after Club Penguin if you want to as well. Like, hey, they use blue penguins in that one too. It's like, that is not, in my opinion, enough of a reasoning. However, if they stole actual assets, then that's a different story. As for AI, I don't really have much of an opinion on that. I don't really know. I personally prefer when artists do stuff, and I think artists still deserve and should be the ones making art, because I feel like having a machine do it for you just isn't the same thing. But I'm not necessarily, like, really that involved with it. I don't really care about it. Rather, what does this message actually mean? Well, basically, it means nothing. It just means that they know, and they just are telling you to stop bothering them about it, more or less. Because technically, they can't really do much. Unless it comes out that Pocket Pair, the company who made Palworld, unless it comes out that they actually stole their assets from Pokemon and just repurposed them, that's the only situation where that could bring up any legal issues. Otherwise, they have no say. They can't do much because Pokemon has taken designs from real-life things as well. They base a lot of their stuff. Like, no PAL is a one-to-one to a Pokemon. Like, not a single one of them is like, you can't say like, oh, there's a Blaziken in the game that's literally just Blaziken. Like, no, there might be a chicken that just looks similar to it, but it's a totally different thing, technically. It's not exactly the same. As long as it's not a one-to-one, they can't really go after them. You can go under the guise of parody and all that bullshit or whatever, but at the end of the day, they can't really do much to them on legal terms. So if you want them, if you're expecting Nintendo to go after them, I highly doubt it. At least that's where I stand. I highly doubt they're going to go after them. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. What I want to talk about is what they said here. Now, initially when I read this, my perception was that it seemed like they were going to go after them, saying, we intend to investigate and take appropriate measure to address any acts of infringing of intellectual property rights related to Pokemon, which sounds like them actually looking into it. But that's pretty much the extent of it, because the only time they will go after is when you directly take from them. And I'm going to be real. I'm just going to say one thing. I will gladly let Palworld burn as long as it doesn't affect the stuff in Pokemon that I still love. And what I mean by that is fan games. Bro, I love Pokemon mods and fan games that are added into other games. I just hope that Palworld doesn't light a massive fire under the ass of Nintendo and the Pokemon Company and makes them, like, go nuclear on anything that uses their property, because that shit is where I'm worried about. So I hope to God that they did not steal the models from Pokemon directly. If they did, they deserve to be sued, because you just stole from another game. Doesn't matter if it's a multi-billion company. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. You stole something and you just claimed it as your own. You know what I mean? As long as they didn't do that, the rest of it, I don't really have much of an opinion on. If people enjoy the game, I think they have the right to enjoy it. If artists hate the game, they have the right to hate it. Nobody can stop them. But I will just end this at this point, okay? The game, as long as it didn't directly steal, as if they can prove that that it wasn't stolen, then that is that, okay? Let the game exist. At the end of the day, Pokemon is still a massive franchise. There are other games that have also, you know, come around trying to, like, quote-unquote, take down Pokemon, and, you know, this is probably the most successful of them. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put it like this. Palworld isn't Pokemon. The only thing that seems to be the one big gripe with the game that a lot of people have is the designs of the pals, right? That's the one big gripe. But Palworld isn't Pokemon. It doesn't feel like Pokemon. It isn't really like Pokemon. It's very different. It's, again, more similar to Ark Survival Evolved, or really any survival game. Like, it has more in common to me with something like Rust than it has to something like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet or Legends Arceus. Like, it's more similar to those games instead. So, to me personally, it's a different enough game that it fills a totally different niche. Like, it still has monster capturing, I know, but it fills a different gap in the market that's existed, I guess, for, you know, survival monster capture games, I guess. I mean, there's 9 million people that have bought this thing, so clearly people like it. People clearly wanted something like that, but it still isn't Pokemon. It still isn't an RPG. Like, Pokemon games have always been RPG games, role-playing games of some sort, right? That's what they've always been. A game about an adventure. This is a bit of a different thing. This is more like a survival, farming, base building, you know, type of game. It is not really the same thing. It fundamentally feels different, which is nothing wrong with it. It's good that it feels different. And I think that's the thing. The only part that's really the big issue is the designs of the pals. That's where the issue stems from, is the designs of the pals is causing all these people to go haywire. So yeah, that's pretty much that. That's really where my opinion is on it. Again, if people are enjoying it, have fun with it. If you hate it, have fun hating it. Frankly, I don't really care about either side. I just enjoy the things I enjoy in life, and I'm not going to sit here and you know, like, try to pretend that I'm better or worse than anyone else. Frankly, life is life. We're all going to die eventually. Let's just enjoy what we can while we're here. So, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I want to thank you all for watching. Of course, I want to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on all things to do with the rumor we saw on Forchan about the presents. What do you guys think about that? What are you guys' thoughts about what Khu said? You guys expect some new things to be posted by him soon? Thoughts and opinions, of course, the shutdown of the Pokemon Bank and Transporter. Actually, they're still up, but rather the shutdown of the online communication and the internet access, basically, on the Wii U and the 3DS. And, of course, you guys' thoughts and opinions on the theories here from Soul Silver and stuff like that. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.